Drop the bag. Now. The old farmer's voice cuts through the corn rows as the sun barely rises over rural Chicago. The woman freezes, both hands gripping a torn sack filled with fresh corn, kernels spilling at her feet. I said drop it, Elias repeats, stepping closer, boots crushing dry stalks. She doesn't move. Her chest rises fast. Her eyes lock on his. 3 workers rush in behind him, forming a tight circle. No one speaks. They all know what usually happens next. Please, she says, voice low. I just need this. One worker scoffs. You picked the wrong farm. Elias lifts a hand. Silence falls instantly. Pause for a second. If you were standing there, would you defend her or stay quiet? He steps even closer now, close enough to see her shaking fingers. Then he says something no one expects, and every single person there goes still. Open it. Elias points at the sack, his voice calm, almost too calm for what just happened. The woman hesitates, then slowly lowers the bag to the ground. Her hands don't stop shaking. Everything, he adds. She unties the knot. Corn spills out, more than anyone expected, enough to feed a family for days. A worker steps forward. That's at least $50 worth. Another mutters, call the sheriff. The woman straightens suddenly. No. All eyes turn to her. I'm not running, she says, louder now. Do what you want. Elias studies her face, not the corn, not the workers, just her. You walked in here at 5:20 a.m., he says, past 2 fences, past my dogs. She swallows hard but doesn't look away. So tell me, Elias continues, voice dropping, what makes you risk all that for corn? She opens her mouth, then stops. Answer him, one worker snaps, stepping closer. She won't, another says. They never do. The woman clenches her jaw. I said I'm not running. That should be enough. It's not, Elias replies. His voice stays low, steady. You crossed my land. You took what isn't yours. A phone lifts from the crowd. Someone starts recording. Good, a worker mutters. Let people see this. The woman notices. Her breathing changes. Faster now, but she still doesn't step back. I don't have money, she says. I don't have time. That's the truth. That's not an answer, Elias says. It is, for me. The circle tightens. Boots scrape dirt. Call the sheriff, the first worker says again. Elias doesn't look away from her. Not once. Last chance, he says. Why this farm? She hesitates. Eyes flick past him, like she recognizes something. What are you looking at? A worker snaps, turning to follow her gaze. But she quickly looks back at Elias. Nothing. Don't lie now, another worker says. You're already in enough trouble. Elias raises his hand again. Silence drops fast. You've been here before, he says, watching her closely. The woman freezes for a split second. That's all he needs. No, she replies. Too fast. Elias steps even closer. Close enough to see the sweat on her forehead, the dirt under her nails. My dogs didn't bark, he says. They bark at everyone. No one speaks now. Even the man holding the phone lowers it slightly. You walked through my land like you knew it, Elias continues. Her fingers curl tighter. Her lips part, then press shut again. Say it, he says. She shakes her head slowly. I can't. The air shifts. Because now, this is no longer just about corn. You can't? A worker scoffs. Then we'll let the sheriff hear it. A hand reaches for the phone again, recording resumes. The woman lifts her chin. Do it. Her voice is steady now. No shaking, no pleading. Elias watches her closely. Something changes in his eyes. You're not afraid of jail, he says. She shakes her head once. No. Then what are you afraid of? Silence. Wind moves through the corn. Dry leaves scrape against each other. Answer him, someone whispers. Her eyes drop to the spilled corn, then back to Elias. If I leave empty-handed today, she says slowly, someone doesn't eat tonight. The circle tightens again, but this time, no one speaks. Elias takes one step forward, then another. He stops right in front of her. And what he says next makes every worker freeze. 3 weeks earlier. Faster. We lose light in 20 minutes. Elias stands at the edge of the field, arms folded, watching every row. The sun is dropping behind the trees, but no one dares slow down. A worker wipes sweat from his face. We've been out here since 5, Elias. And the corn doesn't wait, Elias replies. Move. No anger in his voice, just pressure, constant. The workers spread out again, picking faster. No one complains twice. From a distance, his farmhouse sits high above the land. Clean, quiet, separate. A truck pulls up near the gate. 2 men step out, speaking low. Price just went up again, one says. People can't keep up. Elias doesn't react. Then they buy less. That's not how it works anymore. Elias turns away. Conversation over. Across the road, a woman watches the field from a distance. She doesn't step closer. She just watches. Turn around. No hiring today. The man at the supply store doesn't even look up. Lila stands still for a second. I can work. Anything. Cleaning, lifting, I don't mind. Did you not hear me? He says, we're full. There's a sign outside. Old sign. Silence. 2 men behind her chuckle. One whispers, try the farm. The other shakes his head, not his farm. Lila hears that. Everyone does. She steps outside slowly. The wind cuts through her thin jacket. Across the street, prices are written in bold on a chalkboard. Corn, bread, eggs, all higher than last week. She checks her pocket. 3 crumpled bills. Not enough. Her phone buzzes. A message. Are you coming back with food? She stares at the screen, doesn't reply. From where she stands, the road stretches straight toward Elias's land. She looks up, then starts walking. Did you eat? The youngest boy looks up from the couch. We waited. Lila steps inside, closing the door quietly behind her. The room is dim, no lights on. You shouldn't wait, she says, forcing a small smile. The older girl stands near the table. We check the cupboard again. Lila already knows what's inside. Nothing new. She drops her bag on the chair. Empty. The boy watches her. You didn't get anything. Silence. I tried, she says. For how long? The girl asks. Not angry, just tired. Lila looks at the clock. 7:42 p.m. All day. The boy pulls his knees closer. I'm not hungry, he lies. Lila kneels in front of them. Listen to me. I'll fix this. Tonight. How? She doesn't answer. Instead, she stands, walks to the window, and looks out toward the dark fields, toward the only place still full of food. You're not going there. The older girl's voice stops her mid-step. Lila turns slowly. I didn't say I was. You don't have to, the girl replies. Everyone knows what happens on that farm. The boy sits up. What happens? No one steals from him, the girl says. No one even tries. Lila grabs her jacket. I'm not stealing. Then what are you doing? Silence. Lila walks to the door. Her hand rests on the handle. You leave now, the girl says. You might not come back. Lila pauses, just for a second. Then she opens the door. Cold air rushes in. I'll come back, she says. With food. The boy stands quickly. I'll go with you. No. Her voice sharp now. The door shuts behind her. Inside, the girl looks at the boy. Watch the clock, she says quietly. Why? Because if she's not back before sunrise, she doesn't finish. Midnight. The road is empty. No cars. No lights. Lila walks fast, arms wrapped tight around herself. Each step brings her closer to the edge of Elias's land. A rusted sign stands near the fence. Private property. She stops, just for a second. A distant bark cuts through the silence. Then another. She looks ahead. Rows of corn stretch into the dark, full, untouched. Her phone buzzes again. Are you coming back? She types nothing, just stares at the message. Another bark. Closer now. Lila moves. She climbs the fence quickly, dropping down hard on the other side. Dirt sticks to her hands. She doesn't look back. Step by step, she moves deeper into the field, closer to the food, closer to the risk, and without knowing it, closer to the man already watching her. Come back next week. I came last week. Then come again. The door shuts in her face. Lila stands there for a second, staring at the peeling paint. Inside, she hears laughter, plates, food. She turns slowly and walks down the steps. No anger, just wait. Across the street, another shop, another chance. She pushes the door open. Hiring? The woman behind the counter doesn't look up. No, I can clean, stock, anything. No. Lila steps closer. Please. The woman finally looks at her. You're not the only one asking. A man at the back mutters, not worth the trouble. Lila hears that. She steps back, leaves without another word. Outside, the wind hits harder now. Across the road, a truck loaded with fresh corn drives past. It doesn't slow. It heads straight toward Elias's land. Rent is due. The landlord stands in the doorway, arms crossed, blocking the exit. I know, Lila says. You said that last week. I'll have it. When? Silence. He steps inside without asking. Looks around. Empty table. No groceries. You got kids in here, he says. You think I run a charity? No. Then act like it. The boy peeks from behind the wall. The girl pulls him back. The landlord notices. You got money for food but not for rent. We don't have either, Lila replies. He laughs once. Short. Cold. 3 days, he says. After that, you're out. He turns and leaves, slamming the door. The room goes quiet. The boy whispers, Are we getting kicked out? Lila doesn't answer. Her eyes move slowly to the window, to the fields in the distance. Still full. You still thinking about it? The girl stands in the doorway, arms folded. Lila doesn't turn. She keeps her eyes on the fields outside. I'm thinking about food, she says. That's not what I asked. Silence. The boy sits on the floor, drawing lines on the wood with his finger. I'm hungry again. Lila closes her eyes for a second. Just one. Drink water, she says. I did. And it doesn't work. The girl steps closer. Everyone says the same thing about that farm. People talk, Lila replies. They don't talk about him, the girl says. They warn. Lila finally turns. And what do they say? That once you cross him, you don't get a second chance. The boy looks up. What does that mean? Neither of them answers. Lila walks back to the window. The fields don't look far anymore. They look possible. You hear what happened to Marcus? 2 men stand near the gas pump, voices low but clear. Lila pauses a few steps away, pretending to check her phone. He tried to cut through that farm last winter, one says, and didn't last a day working after that. Elias fired him? Didn't even hire him again. Told everyone not to. The second man shakes his head. That's how he keeps control. No one crosses him twice. Lila looks up slowly. The farm sits across the road. Quiet. Untouched. A truck pulls out from the gate, loaded with corn. More than the town could eat in a week. Man's got more than he needs, one of them mutters, and still won't give an inch. Lila steps closer to the road. Her eyes follow the truck, then drift back to the fence. She studies the distance, the path, the risk, and this time, she doesn't look away. Night falls again. The house is quieter this time. No talking, no questions. Lila sits at the table, staring at the same empty surface. The boy lies on the couch, too tired to complain. The girl watches her. You've already decided. Lila doesn't answer. You're going back there, the girl says. Yes. The word lands heavy. Final. What if they catch you? They won't. And if they do, Lila stands. Then, I deal with it. The girl shakes her head. That's not a plan. It's the only option. Silence again. The boy's voice comes out soft. Bring something back. Lila nods once. She grabs her jacket. This time, no hesitation. No pause at the door. She steps outside into the cold night. And this time, she's not debating anymore. Cold air cuts across her face as Lila reaches the fence again. No hesitation this time. She grips the metal, climbs fast, drops down hard into the dirt. A distant bark sounds. She freezes. Nothing else. No lights. No movement. She exhales slowly and moves forward, stepping between rows of corn. The field feels different now. Not distant. Not unreachable. Close. Her hands reach out. She grabs the first ear of corn, pulls hard. It snaps free. Then another, and another. Fast now. No thinking. Just movement. She stuffs them into the sack she brought this time. Prepared. A dry stalk cracks behind her. She spins. Nothing. Keep moving, she whispers to herself. Her fingers shake as she grabs more. The sack fills quickly, heavier than she expected. Another sound. Closer. This time, it's not the wind. Hey! The voice cuts through the field. Loud. Close. Lila drops low instantly, clutching the sack to her chest. Boots hit the ground behind her. Fast. I saw you. The voice shouts again. She runs. Corn stalks slap against her arms as she pushes forward, barely seeing where she's going. Stop. She doesn't. The sack drags her down. Too heavy. A hand grabs her jacket from behind. She jerks forward, breaking free, but the bag slips. Corn spills across the dirt. No. Got you. A worker steps in front of her, blocking her path. Another closes in from the side. She turns, searching for a gap. None. Drop it, one says, breathing hard. She grips what's left of the sack tighter. Don't, she says. More footsteps approach. Voices now, not just one. The field is waking up. Over here. More voices cut through the rows. Lights flick on near the far end of the field. Lila backs up, chest rising fast. The circle is closing. Don't move, a worker warns, stepping closer. She turns suddenly and runs again, pushing past a narrow gap. Hey! A hand grabs her arm this time. Strong, firm. She twists hard, pulling free, but the sack tears open. More corn spills out, scattering across the dirt. Stop fighting. I can't. She snaps, breath breaking. Another worker steps in front of her. This time, there's no space left. Enough, he says. She freezes, not by choice, by force. Hands don't touch her again. But they don't need to. They've surrounded her. Someone picks up a fallen ear of corn and holds it up. She's been taking from us, he says. No, Lila replies quickly. Just tonight. Doesn't matter. Another says. You chose the wrong place. Footsteps approach behind them. Slower, heavier. The voices fade, because they all know who that is. Move. The workers part instantly. No one argues. No one delays. Elias steps into the circle, eyes fixed ahead. Lila stands still, breathing hard, pieces of corn scattered around her feet. So, he says quietly, this is the one. No one answers. He walks closer, slow, controlled, boots pressing into the dirt where the corn lies crushed. She ran, one worker says. I didn't ask, Elias replies. Silence drops again. Lila lifts her chin. I'm not running anymore. Elias stops a few steps away, studies her face like he's searching for something. You crossed two fences, he says. You ignored the signs. I saw them. And you came anyway. Yes. A worker steps forward. We should call the sheriff now. Elias doesn't look at him. His eyes stay on her. You knew this would happen, he says. Lila nods once. Then why are you still here? She opens her mouth. But the answer doesn't come. Say it. Elias presses, voice low. Lila swallows hard, because leaving empty is worse. A worker scoffs. Worse than jail. She doesn't look at him. Yes. Murmurs ripple through the circle. Phones rise again. Record this, someone says. Elias lifts a hand. The murmurs stop, but the cameras stay up. You filled a sack, he says. That's not hunger. That's a choice. It's both, Lila replies. He steps closer, close enough to hear her breath. How many at home? She hesitates. Answer. 2. Children? She nods. A worker cuts in. Everyone has problems. She still stole. Elias turns his head slightly. The worker goes quiet. Where do you live? Elias asks. Lila doesn't answer. Last question, he says. Tell me, or I call it in. The field holds its breath. Lila looks past him, toward the road, then back at his face, and chooses what to say next. South End, Lila says. Near the old water tower. A worker laughs. That place should have been cleared years ago. Elias doesn't react. Names. She hesitates. Names, he repeats. Malik and Tasha. Yours? Lila. Silence settles again. Cameras still pointed. Workers waiting. You admit you took from me, Elias says. Yes. No excuses? No. A worker steps forward. That's enough. Call it in. Another adds. You let this go once, it spreads. Elias doesn't move. His eyes stay on Lila. Look at me, he says. She does. No fear now. Just wait. What happens if I call this in? She answers without pause. I lose them. A beat. Pause for a second. If you were him, would you punish her or let her go? The circle tightens again. Everyone waits for one word. Elias takes a slow breath and doesn't give it. Call it, a worker insists, stepping closer. She admitted it. Another adds. On camera. Phones stay raised. Waiting. Elias finally turns his head. Just slightly. Put them down, he says. No one moves. I said put them down. This time, they obey. Slowly. Reluctantly. You're making a mistake, one mutters. Maybe, Elias replies. He steps around Lila, circling once, looking at the torn sack, the spilled corn, the dirt on her hands. You planned this, he says. Yes. You came ready. Yes. You knew the risk. Yes. A worker shakes his head. Then there's nothing to discuss. Elias stops walking, faces her again. That's where you're wrong, he says. Silence hits hard, because now, he's not treating this like a simple theft anymore. Then, what is it? A worker asks. If it's not theft, what is it? Elias doesn't answer him. He looks at Lila. How long have they been hungry? She exhales slowly. 3 days. Murmurs ripple through the group. 3 days? Someone repeats. That's not his problem. Another says quickly. Elias raises a hand again. Silence returns. You could have asked, he says. Lila shakes her head. No one asks you. A few workers glance at each other. No one disagrees. You decided that for yourself, Elias replies. I decided based on what I've seen, she says. What have you seen? People turned away. A worker steps forward. We don't run a charity. I didn't come for charity, Lila says. I came for food. Elias studies her again. Longer this time. Not her hands. Not the corn. Her face, as if measuring something deeper than the moment. Enough talking, a worker snaps. We're wasting time. Then go back to work, Elias says without looking at him. The man freezes. You're letting her stand here? For now. Murmurs rise again. Louder this time. She stole from us. She broke in. What message does this send? Elias finally turns, his gaze sharp. The message I choose, he says. Silence hits fast. No one challenges him again. He steps closer to Lila, close enough to lower his voice. You said 3 days, he says. You didn't come here the first day. No. Second. No. So what changed tonight? Lila hesitates. Her eyes drop for the first time. They stopped pretending, she says quietly. Who? My kids. The words land heavy. Elias holds her gaze. For a moment. Something shifts behind his eyes. Elias turns away from her. Just for a second. The workers lean in, waiting. Well, one asks, what's the call? Elias looks at the spilled corn, then at the torn sack in Lila's hands. Pick it up, he says. A worker steps forward. Finally, not you. Elias cuts in. Her. Lila doesn't move. Pick it up, he repeats. Slowly, she kneels. Starts gathering the corn from the dirt, brushing each piece clean with shaking hands. The workers watch, expecting the next order. Bag it, Elias says. She does. Faster now. Good, a worker mutters. Now we call it in. Elias shakes his head. No one is calling anyone. Silence drops hard. What? Elias looks at Lila. Take it, he says. No one breathes. Take all of it. And walk out. The workers stare at him. Because this is not how this was supposed to end. You heard what he did? The diner goes quiet for a second, then louder than before. He let her walk, one man says, shaking his head. With a full sack. Another adds. Didn't even call it in. A woman behind the counter leans forward. From his farm? From his own field. Murmurs spread fast. Cups stop mid-air. That's not like him, someone says. No, another replies. That's not him at all. Outside, trucks pass by, carrying more corn out of town. Inside, the story grows with every retelling. She stood there, like she didn't care. He didn't even raise his voice. He's losing it, one man mutters. The door opens. Lila steps in. Every head turns. Silence drops again. No one greets her. No one looks away. She walks forward anyway, because now everyone already knows her face. Coffee? The waitress asks, but her tone is flat. Lila nods once. Cash first, the waitress adds. Eyes stay on her from every table. Lila pulls out 2 bills, places them down. The waitress takes them, slower than needed. Sit. Lila moves to a corner seat, keeps her back straight. A man nearby leans over. You got lucky yesterday. She doesn't respond. Won't happen twice, he says. Another voice joins. You think he'll keep feeding thieves? Lila looks up. I didn't ask him to feed me. You took it. Yes. Silence for a beat. Then whispers. Start again. Bold, someone says. Or stupid. The coffee lands in front of her. No smile. She wraps her hands around the cup. Across the room, 2 workers from the farm sit together, watching her, not speaking. That silence feels worse than the whispers. You embarrassed us. The voice comes from the farm table, low, direct. Lila doesn't turn right away. She keeps her hands around the cup. Did the first? She asks. A chair scrapes. One of the workers stands and walks over. You walk in, take what you want, and leave, he says, in front of everyone. I didn't leave quietly, she replies. You shouldn't have left at all. The diner watches closely now. He should have called it in, another worker adds from behind. Lila turns this time, faces them, but he didn't. That's the problem. A few heads nod. You made him look weak, the first worker says. Lila holds his gaze. Or maybe you just didn't like his choice. That lands harder than expected. The man steps closer. Be careful. Why? Because next time, it won't be his decision. Silence spreads again, and this time, it feels like a warning. Step back, the waitress says sharply. The worker doesn't move at first. Then slowly, he does. Finish your coffee, he tells Lila. Then leave town. Lila looks at him. I live here. Not for long. He turns and walks back to his table. The room exhales, but no one relaxes. Lila lifts the cup, takes a small sip. It tastes bitter, strong. Across the room, the 2 workers keep watching. No smiles, no words. At the counter, someone whispers, he's lost control. Another replies, or he's hiding something. Outside, a truck pulls up fast. Door slams. Elias steps in. Every voice dies instantly. He scans the room once, stops on Lila, then shifts to the workers. Outside, he says, no anger, just command. The workers stand, follow him out. Lila stays seated, but now, all the tension just moved outside with him. The door swings shut behind them. Inside, no one speaks. Everyone listens. Outside, voices rise fast. Sharp. You let her walk, one worker says. I made a call, Elias replies. You made us look weak. I made a decision. That decision affects all of us. Silence for a beat. Then another voice joins. People are talking. Let them, Elias says. That's easy for you. Someone snaps. You don't answer to anyone. Elias steps closer. I answer for this farm, then act like it. Inside, Lila stands slowly, moves toward the door. She stops just short. Outside, the voices drop. Too quiet now. Then one sentence cuts through. If you won't fix it, the worker says, we will. Lila's hand tightens on the door handle, because now, this isn't just about what Elias decided. The door creaks open slowly. Lila steps out of the diner, eyes scanning both sides of the road. No workers, no voices, just wind and dust. Elias stands a few feet away, hands behind his back, waiting. You heard them, she says. I did. They won't stop. No. Silence sits between them. Lila steps closer. Then why did you do it? Elias doesn't answer. Why let me go? He looks past her, toward the road that leads out of town. You should go home, he says. That's not an answer. It's advice. Lila studies his face. You're not worried about me. No. Then, who? Elias turns slightly. Go home. She doesn't move. Before someone else makes a different decision, he adds, that lands. Lila steps back slowly, but her eyes don't leave him. Because now, his silence feels like it's hiding something. Late night. The road near the water tower sits quiet. No streetlights. No movement. A truck stops at the corner. Engine cuts off. Elias steps out. Alone. He looks toward the small house at the end of the road. Paint faded. Windows dim. No sound from inside. He walks slowly. No rush. No noise. A loose board creaks under his boot. He pauses. Listens. Nothing. He moves closer to the window. Inside, a faint light glows from the corner. Two small figures lie on the floor, wrapped in thin blankets. One shifts slightly. Elias watches. His expression doesn't change, but he doesn't look away either. From inside, a soft voice breaks the silence. Is she back? No answer. Elias steps closer to the glass, and for the first time, something in that room holds his attention longer than expected. Water's almost gone. The older girl's voice is low, trying not to wake the boy. Lila stands near the sink, staring at the last inch in the glass. I'll get more in the morning, she says. With what? No answer. The boy stirs. Did you bring anything? Lila hesitates. Not tonight. Silence hits hard. Outside, Elias doesn't move. He watches Lila turn away from them, shoulders tight, jaw set. No more waiting, the girl says. We need food. I know. When? Soon. That's what you said yesterday. The words hang there. Lila grips the edge of the sink. Elias's eyes shift to the table. No groceries. No bags. Nothing. A small photo sits near the wall. He leans slightly, trying to see it clearer. A man stands beside a younger Lila, smiling. Elias freezes, because that face, he knows it. Elias leans closer to the glass, just enough to see the photo clearly. The man in it stands tall, arm around a younger Lila, dirt on his clothes, smile wide. Elias's eyes narrow. No, he says under his breath. Inside, Lila turns, following the girl's gaze toward the table. She picks up the photo, wipes dust off it with her sleeve. You still keep that? The girl asks. Lila nods. Every day. The boy shifts. Who is that? Our father, Lila replies. Outside, Elias steps back slowly. His jaw tightens. He looks at the house again, then at the ground, then back at the photo through the glass. The wind moves past him, but he doesn't feel it, because now, this is no longer about a stranger stealing from his farm. This is someone tied to something he never forgot, and something he never finished. Elias turns away from the window, slow, controlled. He walks back toward his truck, but stops halfway. Inside, Lila sits beside the boy now. She pulls him close. You'll eat tomorrow, she says. You said that yesterday, he replies. She doesn't answer this time. Elias looks down at the dirt under his boots, the same kind of dirt from years ago. He exhales once, long, then reaches into his pocket, pulls out his phone. He scrolls, stops on a name. His thumb hovers, then presses call. Yeah, he says when the line picks up. I need records. A pause. Old ones, he adds, from before the farm expanded. Another pause. Name? The voice asks. Elias looks back at the house one last time, at the photo still sitting on the table. Then he says it, and the name changes everything. Sit down. All of you. Voices fill the town hall, loud, sharp, overlapping. We're not sitting until this is handled. A worker fires back. Chairs scrape anyway. People settle, but no one relaxes. Elias stands at the front, still, watching. This meeting isn't optional, the town clerk says. We need answers. You already know the answer, one worker says. He let her walk. Murmurs spread fast. Broke his own rules. Made us look weak. Put the farm at risk. The door opens. Lila steps in. Every head turns again. Same silence as before. Good. Someone mutters. She's here. Lila stops near the back. Doesn't sit. Elias finally speaks. This isn't a trial. It feels like one. A voice snaps. Pause for a second. What do you think he's hiding right now? Elias looks across the room, then back at Lila, and says nothing. Then explain it, a worker says, standing up again. You had her right there, another adds. Caught. Admitted it. And you let her walk. A third finishes. Elias doesn't move. I made a call. That call affects all of us, the first worker replies. It affects your control, someone else mutters. A few heads nod. Louder now. You think this won't spread? You think others won't try? This is how it starts. Lila stays at the back, eyes moving across the room. No one stands near her. No one speaks to her. Elias lifts his hand. Enough. The room quiets, but the tension stays. You want consistency, he says. You want rules. We want order, the worker replies. Elias nods once. Then listen. He looks at Lila, then back at the crowd. This wasn't random. Silence drops again, because now, this story just changed direction. Not random. A man near the front repeats, You're saying she had a reason? She had a reason, Elias says. That doesn't change what she did. Another worker fires back. No, Elias agrees. It changes why I didn't act the way you expected. Murmurs rise again, louder, sharper. This is favoritism. This is weakness. This is dangerous. Lila steps forward from the back. One step, then another. I didn't ask him for anything, she says. A few people turn to her. Others avoid her eyes. You didn't have to, someone replies. He gave it anyway. I took it, Lila says. He just didn't stop me. That's the same thing. No, it's not. Voices start to overlap again. Elias watches, says nothing, because now, the room isn't just against Lila. It's turning on him. Then say it clearly. A worker demands. Why her? The room goes still again, waiting. Elias looks at Lila, then at the crowd. You want a reason, he says. You'll get one. Finally, someone mutters, but you won't like it. That's not your concern. It is, Elias replies. He steps forward, slow, measured. This farm wasn't always mine, he says. A few people exchange looks, confused. What does that have to do with anything? Everything, Elias answers. Lila's eyes narrow slightly. Elias continues. Years ago, before any of you worked here, something happened on this land. Silence tightens across the room. A worker scoffs. We're not here for stories. No, Elias says. You're here for truth. He pauses, looks directly at Lila, then back at them. And her family is part of it. That's not enough. A worker snaps. Say it straight. Who is she to you? Another adds. Lila stands still, eyes fixed on Elias. Elias exhales once. Her father worked this land. Murmurs break out again. Lots of people did. What makes him different? Elias steps forward. He saved my life. Silence hits harder this time. No one interrupts. Years ago, Elias continues, before any of you were here, I made a mistake on this farm. What mistake? Someone asks. Elias doesn't answer that yet. He stepped in, Elias says instead. Took the risk, paid the price. Lila's breath slows. My father? Elias nods once. The room shifts. Not fully, but enough. So, you're paying a debt. A worker says, no. Elias replies, I'm finishing it. Silence again. Because now, everyone realizes this isn't over. What price? A voice from the back asks. Elias doesn't answer right away. He looks at the floor. Then, back up. My mistake cost him his place here, he says. Murmurs rise again. You fired him? Someone asks. No. Elias's voice sharpens. I let others blame him. Silence drops. Lila steps forward. What are you saying? Elias meets her eyes. There was damage on the farm, equipment lost, money gone, and they said it was him. And you believed them? I knew they were wrong. The room shifts again, uneasy now. Then why didn't you stop it? A worker asks. Elias doesn't look at him. Because I was new, he says, and I chose control over truth. Lila's face tightens. So you let them take everything from him? Elias nods once. And now, he pauses. You understand why I didn't call this in. You're saying you ruined him, a worker says. Elias doesn't argue. Yes. The word lands heavy. Lila shakes her head slowly. No, that doesn't make sense. He left after that. Elias continues. No work, no name, no way back. You're lying, Lila says, but her voice weakens. I looked for him, Elias replies, years later. And he was gone. Silence spreads across the room again. Then why now? Someone asks. Why her? Elias turns toward Lila. Because of the photo. Lila freezes. The man standing next to you. Elias says. That's him. Her breath catches. You came onto my land, Elias continues, carrying the same face I've been trying to find. The crowd watches closely now. No whispers, no judgment, just attention. Because now, this is no longer about a thief. It's about a debt that was never settled. So what now? A worker asks. You forgive everything because of that. Elias shakes his head. No. Then what? I correct what I allowed. Lila steps closer. You can't correct that. I can start. How? Elias looks at the crowd. By telling the truth. To who? Someone asks. To all of you, he says. And to anyone who believed the lie. Murmurs return, but softer now. You're saying he was innocent? Yes. And you stayed quiet? Yes. Lila's voice cuts through. Do you even know what happened to him after he left? Elias doesn't answer. That silence cost him everything, she says. He nods once. And now you want to fix it with corn? No, Elias replies, with truth. And with action. Silence again. Because now, everyone is waiting to see what that action looks like. What action? A man near the front asks. Elias steps forward. I restore his name, publicly. Murmurs rise again. That won't change what he lost, someone says. No, Elias agrees. But it changes what everyone believes. Lila watches him closely. And after that, I return what was taken from him. A worker scoffs. You can't return years. I can return what those years cost him, Elias replies. Silence tightens again. And her? Another voice asks, pointing at Lila. Elias doesn't hesitate. She works on this farm. Heads turn fast. What? She broke in. She stole. And now she gets a job? Elias nods once. Not as a favor, he says. As a correction. The room reacts again. Loud. Divided. Lila stands still. Because now, this decision just changed everything for her. Say something. A worker pushes. You just got handed everything. Lila doesn't react to him. Her eyes stay on Elias. This isn't everything, she says. Then what is it? A start. The word lands quiet, but firm. Elias nods once. You accept? He asks. Lila takes a breath, looks around the room. Faces that judged her, faces that still do. Yes, she says. Murmurs rise again. Some louder, some softer. She doesn't belong here. She broke the rules. She faced them. Another voice says. The room splits. Elias raises his hand. Silence returns. This decision stands, he says. No one argues this time. Lila looks at him one more time. Because now, her life just changed direction. Be here at 6, Elias says. No speech, no ceremony. Just that. Lila nods once. I will. The next morning, the sky is still dark when she reaches the field. Workers are already there. Some look at her. Others don't. No one greets her. Elias stands near the rows, hands behind his back. You're early, he says. So are you. A faint pause. He points toward a section of the field. Start there. No special treatment. No easy task. Lila walks to the row, picks up a tool, and begins. Her hands move steady. No shaking this time. A worker passes by her, slows down, watches. You sure about this? He asks quietly. Lila doesn't stop working. I'm already here, she replies. The sun begins to rise slowly over the land, and for the first time, she's not taking from it. Keep pace. The same worker walks beside her, watching every move. I am, Lila replies, not looking up. You fall behind. You slow everyone. I won't. He studies her for a second longer, then moves ahead. Another worker passes, doesn't speak, just drops a crate beside her. Fill it, he says. Lila nods once and keeps working. Faster now, more precise. The sun climbs higher. Sweat builds. No brakes called. A few workers glance at her, waiting for her to slow down. She doesn't. Elias watches from a distance, says nothing. Around midday, the same worker returns, checks her crate. Full, clean, no wasted picks. He pauses. Not bad. Lila wipes her hands. It's work. He nods once, walks off. No praise, no approval, but something shifts, because now she's not being watched like a problem anymore. Take 10. The call comes from across the field. Workers step back, stretching, reaching for water. Lila stays in her row, keeps picking. You heard him, the same worker says, walking back. I'm fine. That's not the point. She pauses, looks at him. If I stop, I think, she says. And I don't want to think right now. He studies her for a second, then hands her a bottle. Drink, he says. She takes it, drinks fast. Across the field, Elias watches again. Not her hands this time. Her pace, her focus. The worker steps closer to him. She's keeping up. I can see that. You still sure about this? Elias doesn't answer right away. His eyes shift from Lila to the edge of the field. A group of townspeople stand there, watching, not working, just watching. And this time, they're not quiet about it. She doesn't belong there, a man shouts from the fence. Workers slow down. Heads turn. Lila keeps moving, one ear of corn at a time. You're rewarding theft. Another voice calls out. Elias steps forward. This is private land. Not when it affects the town. The man fires back. Murmurs rise along the fence. More people gather. You think this ends here? You think others won't try? A woman points at Lila. You just made her an example. Lila finally stops, turns, faces them, hands still dirty, shoulders steady. I'm already an example, she says. The crowd quiets for a second. Of what? Someone asks. Of what happens when people are pushed too far. The words land hard. Elias watches her, doesn't interrupt. The same worker steps beside him. You want us to clear them out? Elias shakes his head slowly. Because, now, this isn't something force can fix. Listen, Elias says, stepping closer to the fence. The crowd quiets, but not completely. You want order, he continues. So do I. A man crosses his arms. Then act like it. I am, Elias replies, by correcting what was wrong. That doesn't feed everyone, another voice snaps. No, Elias agrees, but it starts something better. Lila steps forward from the field, stands beside him now, not behind, not hidden. If you're hungry, she says, you don't wait for permission. Murmurs shift, not as sharp this time. You come find a way, she continues, or you don't make it. Silence spreads slowly. The same man at the fence lowers his voice. And what happens next? Elias looks at the field, then at them. Next, he says, we build something that doesn't leave people outside it. Pause. Do you believe people deserve a second chance? The wind moves through the corn again, and this time, no one argues.